My beloved brothers and sisters, today we speak about something that touches every heart: love. But not just any love, the kind that often confuses us, challenges us, and sometimes even divides us. The love between parents and the love between a spouse. Subhanallah, both are beautiful, both are sacred, and both are gifts from Allah, yet they are not the same. The love of a parent is the first love you ever experience. Unconditional, selfless, given without expectation. It is the kind of love that prays for you long after you've stopped asking. The kind that sacrifices silently day after day. Then comes another kind of love, the love of a spouse. A love that grows with time, built through trust, mercy, and companionship. It is not born overnight, it is nurtured through patience, forgiveness, and mutual respect. It is a love that completes you, that helps you walk through life's storms hand in hand. But my brothers and sisters, sometimes we mix these two loves. We start comparing them, measuring one against the other, and that's where the problem begins. Each love has its place, its purpose, and its beauty. When we understand this balance, we find peace. When we forget it, we invite pain. Love is a divine gift. Its expression differs, but its essence remains pure. When we talk about love, we often think of emotion, attachment, or affection, but in reality, love is far deeper than that. It is one of the greatest blessings Allah has placed in the human heart. It is through love that we build families, form communities, and find peace in our souls. Without love, life becomes dry, mechanical, and empty. Allah Himself describes love in the Qur'an as a sign among His many signs that He created for us spouses so that we may find tranquility in them, and He placed between us affection and mercy. This shows that love, when guided by sincerity and faith, is not just a feeling but an act of worship, a reflection of divine mercy on earth. The beauty of love lies in its different expressions. A mother's love is tender and protective. A father's love is firm and guiding. A spouse's love is comforting and loyal. And a believer's love for Allah is humbling and transformative. Each form of love serves a purpose in shaping who we are, while the forms differ in tone, in duty, in expression. The essence remains the same. It is sincere care that seeks good for another. The Prophet showed us that love is not limited to words. It is shown in action, in sacrifice, in patience, and in forgiveness. It is a love that elevates, not one that enslaves. When we understand love as a divine gift, we stop treating it as something to possess or control. Instead, we begin to see it as a trust from Allah, something we must protect, nurture, and express in the right way. Love that stems from faith will never lead to harm or disobedience. It teaches us balance, reminding us that every relationship must ultimately bring us closer to our Creator. When love is detached from divine purpose, it can become selfish, possessive, and destructive. But when it is grounded in sincerity and guided by the remembrance of Allah, it becomes a source of peace and strength. Love in its pure form is not about taking, it is about giving. It is about wanting good for others as much as we want it for ourselves. It forgives easily, speaks kindly, and endures patiently. Such love softens hearts, mends relationships, and strengthens faith. Every act of genuine love, whether toward a parent, a spouse, or a fellow believer, is a reflection of Allah's mercy flowing through us. The love of parents is selfless, nurturing, and foundational. It is the very first form of love we ever experience in this world. Before we even learn to speak, walk, or think, our parents have already poured their hearts into us. Their love begins long before we understand what love means. It is a love that asks for nothing in return, that sacrifices without expectation, and that endures through sleepless nights, countless worries, and endless prayers. A parent's love is not built on conditions, it is built on care, mercy, and responsibility. A love that reflects one of the purest forms of compassion that Allah has placed in the human heart. A mother's love, especially, is one of the most powerful and selfless forces known to humankind. She carries her child in her womb, enduring pain, fear, and hardship with patience and hope. Then, even after birth, she continues to give through her sleepless nights, her tender words, her silent prayers. Her love is so pure that Allah Himself reminds us of her struggle in the Qur'an, commanding us to honor our parents and to recognize the difficulty our mothers endured in giving us life. A father's love, though often quieter, is no less profound. It shows itself in responsibility, protection, and hard work. The long days and nights spent providing for his family, often without complaint or recognition. His love may not always be expressed through words, but through the security, stability, and guidance he provides. This kind of love is foundational because it forms the very roots of who we become. It teaches us the first lessons of kindness, patience, and gratitude. It is through our parents' love that we learn how to give and receive love in return. When we experience their mercy, we understand something of Allah's mercy. When we witness their sacrifices, we learn the meaning of devotion. Their love builds our emotional and spiritual foundation, shaping our understanding of compassion, forgiveness, and resilience. Yet, the true beauty of parental love is that it remains constant even when we falter. Parents continue to pray for their children long after they have left home, even when they are wronged or forgotten. Their love doesn't fade with time. It transforms into silent supplications, hidden tears, and hopes whispered to Allah. It is this selflessness that makes parental love one of the most sacred bonds in existence. It is a love that does not seek reward in this world but finds contentment in the happiness and well-being of their children. The love of a spouse is companionship, built on mercy, respect, and understanding. It is a bond that begins with two individuals coming together not only through affection but through faith and intention. Marriage in Islam is not merely a contract. It is a sacred covenant, a promise made before Allah to protect, honor, and cherish one another. This love is not instant or effortless. It grows gradually through patience, forgiveness, and the willingness to put another's needs before one's own. It is a love that matures with time, strengthened by shared struggles, mutual support, and consistent care. When Allah describes marriage in the Qur'an, He uses words that reflect tranquility, affection, and mercy. This reminds us that spousal love is not just about passion or desire, but about peace, finding comfort and security in one another. A spouse becomes a companion in every sense of the word, someone to share life's joys, face hardships with, and walk beside through every test. They are not meant to complete each other's faith, but to help one another grow in it. In such love, there is patience when things go wrong, compassion when one is weak, and gratitude when one is strong. Respect is at the core of this kind of love. Without respect, affection fades quickly. A true believer knows that love for a spouse is shown not through grand gestures, but through consistent kindness, gentle words, and a willingness to listen. The Prophet was an example of this, kind, attentive, and never harsh toward his wives. He taught us that the best among us are those who are best to their spouses. This shows that the love between husband and wife is not simply emotional. It is spiritual. Every act of service, forgiveness, and care for one's spouse becomes an act of worship when done for the sake of Allah. Mercy is what sustains spousal love when the initial excitement of marriage fades. It is mercy that allows couples to forgive, to overlook mistakes, and to start anew. It is mercy that transforms ordinary moments into opportunities for reward. When a husband helps his wife or a wife comforts her husband, it is an expression of love blessed by Allah. Spousal love, therefore, is not just about companionship in this world, but also about journeying together toward Jannah. It is a love that stands firm through the storms of life because it is rooted not in selfish desire, but in mutual mercy and sincere devotion to Allah. Conflicts arise when people compare these loves, though each has its unique place. One of the greatest mistakes many people make is to weigh the love of parents against the love of a spouse, as if one must be greater than the other. In truth, both are essential, both are noble, and both are commanded by Allah, but they exist in different dimensions of our lives. The love for parents is the love of gratitude, respect, and reverence. It is a love rooted in the past, for they are the reason we exist, the ones who raised us, prayed for us, and sacrificed for our well-being. The love for a spouse, however, is the love of companionship, trust, and partnership. It is a love rooted in the present and the future, for it builds a new foundation, a new family, and new responsibilities. When these two are confused or compared, it creates imbalance, tension, and unnecessary pain. Many times a person may feel torn between fulfilling the rights of their parents and those of their spouse. This happens because the heart tries to measure both loves using the same scale, not realizing that each belongs in its rightful place. The love of parents does not diminish after marriage, nor should the love of a spouse be seen as betrayal toward them. Islam beautifully teaches balance, giving everyone their due right without injustice. The Prophet showed this balance in his life, honoring his parents, maintaining family ties, and yet being the most loving and caring husband. His example shows that true love is not about choosing one over the other, but about fulfilling each relationship with justice, mercy, and wisdom. Problems arise when either side demands exclusive loyalty, forgetting that love is not a competition but a shared trust. Some parents, out of deep affection, may struggle to accept that their child now belongs to another household. Similarly, some spouses may misunderstand their partner's duty toward their parents as neglect toward them. These misunderstandings create emotional strain when in reality, Islam calls for harmony, not rivalry. A wise heart understands that every type of love has its own boundary and purpose. When love remains within its rightful place, peace prevails. When it is compared, resentment grows. True maturity is understanding that Allah has placed each bond in our lives for a reason. Parents to nurture and guide, a spouse to support and accompany. When we stop comparing and start appreciating, we learn that love is not limited or divided. It only multiplies when shared with sincerity and gratitude. True balance comes from gratitude, humility, and obedience to Allah in all relationships. Every relationship in our lives is a test of how we love, how we prioritize, and how we remain fair in our affection. Many of us struggle to find the right balance between our duties toward our parents and our responsibilities toward our spouse. Some tilt too far in one direction, neglecting the other, and in doing so, we lose the harmony that Allah wants us to maintain. Balance does not mean giving equal time or emotion to each. It means giving each person their due right according to what Allah has commanded. Gratitude, humility, and obedience to Allah are the keys that keep our relationships in order and our hearts at peace. Gratitude reminds us to never take love for granted. When we are grateful to our parents, we acknowledge their sacrifices, their sleepless nights, and their endless care. When we are grateful to our spouse, we appreciate their companionship, patience, and support. Gratitude softens the heart and prevents pride from poisoning our relationships. A grateful person does not compare loves. They recognize blessings. They understand that each form of love is a mercy from Allah, and that by appreciating it, they draw closer to Him. Ingratitude, on the other hand, blinds us to what we have and pushes us to seek faults in others. When we start focusing on what is missing instead of what is present, even the strongest bonds begin to weaken. Humility allows us to maintain peace in relationships. When we let go of ego, we stop demanding constant validation and start giving more freely. A humble child serves their parents with respect, not arrogance. A humble spouse listens, forgives, and compromises, knowing that no one is perfect. Humility creates space for mercy and understanding, two qualities essential for love to survive. Without humility, even the smallest misunderstanding can grow into conflict. The Prophet A taught us that humility is not weakness, it is strength guided by wisdom. It helps us see others with compassion and recognize our own limitations. Obedience to Allah is what keeps all these feelings grounded. When we remember that every relationship is part of our worship, we begin to love for the sake of Allah, not out of pride or possession. We become just patient and forgiving because we seek His pleasure above all. Obedience gives clarity, reminding us that true balance is not measured by emotion but by righteousness. When we love in a way that pleases Allah, every bond in our life becomes a source of peace, reward, and spiritual